Hello, 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 and welcome back to another episode of Opinion or Opportunity. So today I'm going to do something a little different. I haven't done it in a while. I'm going to talk politics, especially after what happened yesterday. And I think it's only fair that everyone gets their fair chance at saying something. And if you can, I highly expect you to speak out and to speak your mind because that's what this country is supposed to be about. So let me first start off with saying that yesterday was a sad day. Now, primarily it was sad because people died. And I quite was quite concerned with how the way the leadership held their heads up after yesterday's incident. And, like thieves in the night, decided to go back to work after someone died. And then three other people died there, throughout the day, I guess, of heart attacks, whatever have you, and continue to do business as usual. If it was one of their peers, Congress would have been shut down. We saw this, I guess, disdain for the American public who was there. And again, I wouldn't be a proponent of going out there and doing it. But I can understand and we can all can see how this was coming. And anyone who's feigning surprise that this happened, you're either stupid or naive or ignorant. I don't know which one. You pick it because this has been coming for a very, very long time. This is a failure of leadership. And our leaders, after this happened, were so angry that it happened in the nation's capital. Like that symbol, that monument means more than the people all these months who have lost homes, businesses, their lives, their loved ones. That symbol, which is actually the house of the American people, the politicians are tenants, part-time tenants, because they may not be there the next term. The White House is a public residence owned by the people. It's symbols of the people. And you can't go ahead and create this great divide that our politicians have done and the media has done and expect that half the country and their people will not rise up and do something just like the left and BLM and everyone else has been doing now for months. Like Kamala Harris said over the summer, the violence ain't going to stop. Well, what makes you special? You're representatives of the people. You're not special. And I guess I take it with grace disdain that these politicians, for some reason, think that they're above everything, that their office is above everything, paid for by the people that they represent. Oh, and by the way, the people you represent, not all of them voted for you. You didn't get a unanimous vote. I don't know where we come from here, but, it's very hard for me to see how a government can, especially a federal government, can oversee 50 states with 50 different cultures, 50 different philosophies, 50 different economics, and expect us to all follow the same rules. This used to be a union of 50 states where we all agreed to uphold certain basic rights, and that our states were going to handle their people the way that they best felt was needed to be done. And we've given up a lot of our rights and a lot of our power to the federal government, who has done nothing for us. We haven't become more free. We've actually lost a lot of freedoms, and people are sitting there ignorant, can't understand why this stuff is happening. I can't be expected to live by the same laws as a socialist wants to live by. Okay, as a capitalist, as an entrepreneur, I'm not going to. So I don't know what the solution here is. I don't know if we can get there. I recently did an episode with the president of the Texas National Movement, and obviously I live in Texas. I have the Texas flag right there. I wasn't born here. I wasn't raised here, but I've come to appreciate the Texas culture. And in the Texas National Movement, Daniel Miller, since 2015, has been a proponent of Texas leaving the Union and becoming its own state nation or nation state. And it was a very intriguing philosophy. But after yesterday, I think maybe that is probably the way forward for a lot of our states, is that if we're not going to see eye to eye, maybe the way forward with the least amount of bloodshed is secession. Now, there are people out there who say it's impossible, but the actual United States Constitution doesn't cover it. So saying it's impossible is absolutely wrong. I think a state like Texas that could actually stand on its own economically and what have you. I think maybe, other states like Texas, and I can't speak for your state, but maybe that is the way forward, because if we can't all live together, then maybe we shouldn't live together. For all you people out there on the left who think that yesterday was a surprise and oh my God, the one thing I've always said, and the one thing you guys keep coming for, is conservative weapons and guns. Eventually something was going to happen. Now, thank God there was no guns involved yesterday, and supposedly there's pipe bombs, but yet none of us have seen pictures of it, right? None of us have seen anything, but supposedly there's like 2 or 3 pipe bombs. I want to see it. I want the media to stop lying, the government to stop lying. I want things to happen. I want the government to stop acting like thieves in the night, and people like Mitch McConnell turn around sitting there saying, we will not be deterred and blah, blah, blah. But yet in the middle of the night, you're holding this recount so that, you can do it like a cat burglar. The American dream is not what I was raised for it to be. My grandparents taught me it was. My parents taught me it was. And what we're seeing today is not America. And for anyone to sit there and say that what is happening is un-American, like Biden is saying there, it's an insurrection. Well, let me explain something to you. Maybe you forgot your education, but this country was founded on insurrection. This country was founded on revolt against the British. Now, maybe since then, it's become a different way that we've dealt with things, but yet we've had politicians and institutions that we can believe in. Congress is at 15%. 85% of Americans do not believe in Congress. The Supreme Court is a laugh. This could have came up and this could have been dealt with a long time ago. Supreme Court could have came up and said, there's no evidence, boom, and laid this to rest. You guys could have just done the goddamn audit for the other half of the country and said, you know what, we have nothing to hide. Here's the audit, which we all know, we all saw evidence of some type of voter fraud. But you could have proved, yes, there was voter fraud, but it wasn't on a mass scale. Yes, these states, violated the Constitution and the electoral system, and they shouldn't have. Maybe you could have turned around and said, we're not going to repeal the election, but we're going to have a better way moving forward. Maybe instead of ignoring the American people, our politicians and leaders could have done something. And this laughter of a pre-elect president, I'm going to be a unifier, and then coming out and saying that's insurrection. But all those months up until September, which I did a video on, it was the first time he came out against the violence and against the riots, is a goddamn laughter. 2016, 2020, the worst possible options up there for president. You've got a president-elect now with a vice president who came out and called him a goddamn racist and turned around on the news and said, I believe his sexual assault accusers, but yet she then turned around and ran from him. That is the character of the country moving forward. These are the character of the people, our politicians, our parties are putting in front of us, but yet they do not expect some type of response. Now, I, again, would not have been, let's go and turn around and vandalize and break into the Capitol building. That would have not been my first thing. But it wasn't me there. But I also wasn't sitting there yesterday looking at the news going, wow, I'm totally shocked that our leaders have been failing us for generations. And now all of a sudden they've been building this great divide and it finally hits them and they want to be offended. Because it was in their office, not your office, temporary office. You're a temporary tenant. People have a right to be mad. Our politicians absolutely suck. and things need to be taken care of. So what do? Who's right? I don't know who's right. But I want to ask you this question, and it was posed to me, and it made me think. Okay, 2 questions. I'm a veteran. Would I serve today? No. 2, if I lived in a state that wasn't part of the United States and we had our own ways and we were doing good, would I vote to join the United States? No. Because the United States is not what it's supposed to be. It's not because of just Trump. It's not because of his 4 years and how he ran his mouth and did things. I don't disagree with every policy. I don't agree with every policy. But that was supposed to be the thing about America, is we always didn't get what we want, but things would change because we could vote. And now the voting system, there is no confidence in it. And our politicians have not provided us a way to have a confidence in it. And the American idea, what people try to come here for, it's not true. And our politicians made it that way. And our naivety as citizens, our ignorance, our undereducated voting because we don't turn around and do the due diligence and we just turn around and vote based on what the media says. That's the problem. Us. Now, if you want to turn around and say the 4 people who died, where do I lay the blame? I lay the blame on the politicians who created this divide for all this time. I lay at the feet of mainstream media who is complicit in creating that divide. But more importantly, when it comes to this election and how it's done, I blame the death of these 4 people at the executives in those 6 states, contested states, who decided to change electoral law without actually having the legislation change the law. These deaths are on your feet, not the people who went there doing what they thought was patriotic, doing what this country was founded on, truly founded on. These deaths are on your feet. And if anyone is prosecuted, you best go all the way. You best turn around and prosecute the people who broke into the building, because yes, they were wrong, but you best turn around and prosecute, okay, the police officer who shot someone who was unarmed. You best turn around and prosecute the politicians that made this possible. You best turn around and prosecute Donald Trump for stoking the fire. But then you better turn around and prosecute those people in those 6 states who turn around and violated those laws. Because they're 4 deaths. And you can prosecute them all for manslaughter. I got it. Go do it. But you better do it all. So the only way forward I can see here is if we can't live together, if our leaders can't get their act together and turn around and actually do what they're supposed to, maybe we shouldn't. Maybe we should actually start looking at secession. Maybe you should start turning to your state legislature and saying, you know what? The American dream is no longer American, and I do not want to be part of it. And I think we as a state don't need to be part of it. Again, the Constitution does not say yay or nay on secession. So if it doesn't address it, it doesn't mean it's not possible. That's all I got to say, because I don't want to go too long. I have other interviews I have to do tonight. I've been called on by a few other shows to talk about it and get my view. Again, I want everyone to understand, everyone should know, based on my previous political statements, that I was not a Trump supporter by far, but I sure the hell ain't no Biden supporter either. I think, again, we got screwed as American people. This is a Nancy Pelosi problem. This is a Mitch McConnell problem. This is an RNC, DNC. This is a Supreme Court problem. Our government at all levels is failing us. And those people yesterday had a right to be mad. They were not being heard. Just like the left claims, when they're not heard and they want to go out and they want to call peaceful protesting, burning down shit. Yesterday, at least nothing burned. Put it that way. But that woman didn't need to die, and neither did the other people. And for supposed bombs, show them. Why haven't you shown them? You've shown stuff like that in the media before. All of a sudden, we don't got no imagery. I'm going to leave it at that. Share if you like, don't. But I do want you to understand, again, answer two questions. If you had to choose to defend this nation today, would you? And two, okay? And I'm going to add the additional one. Two, if you lived in a state or a country that was doing okay, would you actually want to be part of the United States? What would be the benefit? Freedoms? There's a lot of countries that have freedoms. Capitalism? There's a lot of countries you can make money in. What is the actual benefit today of someone wanting to join the United States? Because I can't see it. And the last one may be too controversial. Maybe too controversial. Maybe it's me just holding my restraint. But you really need to just ask yourself, is what's happening today what we were all born into and what we all thought the American dream was? Because I ain't for socialism. I ain't for all that bullshit. I definitely ain't for everything. I'm an independent. I believe in social progression, but I believe in fiscal conservatives and this and whatnot have you, and my rights. So I'm going to end it here. I would appreciate any feedback. Obviously, we're all pretty tense right now. And I want to know if my head is in the right area. So let me know. I'll talk to you later.